District Judge Tracie Tomak in our studio right now. Tracie, good morning.
Good morning, Tim. Thanks for having me.
It's nice to have you here. Running for district judge. That's because Judge Norlander's being kicked out because he's old.
Well, I hate to put it that way, but you can't run after you've turned 70. So
Wait,
he
that's
gets
not old.
No, but he gets to enjoy retirement, and we're very happy for him. But we'll miss him.
Yes, Judge James Norlander can't run again, so that means we're going to have a race. We spoke a few months ago with Dan Busher, who's a assistant prosecutor. He's running. You're running.
That's right.
Anybody else running?
No, just Mr. Busher and myself.
So that means no primary.
Correct.
It'll be a November election, and it'll be one of the two of you that emerges as our new district judge, replacing Judge Norlander.
That's correct.
Well, tell us a little about you. You're a Harper Creek girl.
I am. I'm born and raised here in Battle Creek. I went to Harper Creek High School. I attended Michigan State, Spring Arbor University, and after college I was a business analyst for a number of years. So the law is a second career for me, which is different.
Well, it is different. I mean, it's not an easy thing to do. And so when did you start pursuing your law career?
I started after surviving tonsil cancer, which knocked me out for about a year.
Yeah.
And once I recovered, thanks to the great treatment here at our Battle Creek Cancer Center, I decided I had to spend my life helping people. So I sold my house and quit my job, and I went to law school.
Wow, that's quite a risk.
It was a risk.
But do you think then, surviving the cancer kind of made it, oh, I can do this if I can do that?
It was. I love to tell people the worst and the best thing that ever happened to me. It really put my life into perspective, and I wanted to spend my life helping other people. That was the only thing I could do after that.
But it wasn't like you were sitting around, I don't know what I'm going to do in life. I mean, you had careers. You were a busy person.
I had a very successful career, and I loved what I did. That's what's interesting. You can love your work, but when your work becomes your passion for being, it's a whole different thing. And I've been so lucky that now I can do what I know my life is meant to do.
Yeah. So you have a law firm here in Battle Creek.
I do a very successful little law firm.
And tell us about that.
I am partners with Kelly Podolsky, and I couldn't be luckier with the women that I work with. We have 3 attorneys, 2 paralegals, and we are one of the most successful law firms in Calhoun County. And that's just unheard of, to come to town, hang a shingle, and build a law firm. But I did it, and I did it with their help, and we couldn't be happier.
Yeah, it's not an easy thing. In fact, we were looking for a lawyer over the weekend, so I Googled a couple places. And there's a few of them.
There's a few. Not many that are firms, though. A lot of solo practitioners.
Sure, yeah.
It's a whole different thing to create a business where you are responsible for payroll and business plans and everything that goes along with that. And we've been able to do it. And it's going to be very difficult to leave these ladies, but like a good family, they support me and they believe that I am the right person to run.
What type of law does the firm specialize in, or is it a lot of things?
It's a lot of things. We focus on anything that a family might need. We don't do corporate law, so family law, which is divorce or custody, criminal defense, misdemeanor defense. We're on the court-appoint misdemeanor list and felony list, so we do felony crimes, landlord-tenant, probate court, wills and trusts and decedent estates. We do driver's license restoration and some bankruptcy.
I think people get a little confused about the courts and our court system. You mentioned probate court. You're running for district court. There's a circuit court. There's, of course, the Supreme Court. We kind of know what that is, but I don't think we know what the rest of them are.
We do have 3 courts in Michigan. In our courthouse, we have 4 circuit court judges. Right now, we have 4 district court judges and then 1 probate court. And I have practiced and have trial experience in every one of those courtrooms with every type of law that we do. So that makes me a little bit different than my opponent. One of the sitting judges now told me, boy, you could take the bench and the next day oversee a trial in any courtroom. And that's really unique.
Yeah. I'm certainly family law. You've got a lot of experience there. What about criminal law? How many criminal cases have you tried?
I've tried 7 cases in the district court, and I've tried 7 in the circuit court, to my recollection. The family law trials I've had are in the hundreds. And then I've done probate court cases, including those that have been put into a mental facility who are being held. Those I've done actually several jury trials on those matters. So I do have experience in every courtroom.
I guess what it comes down to when we're thinking about a judge is, do you want letter of the law and order, really hard judges, or do you want judges that are gonna maybe venture out of the box? And where would you put yourself, and what's your philosophy if you are elected as a judge? How are you gonna handle that stuff?
Well, I believe the law is the letter of the law. You must uphold the law first and foremost. However, judges do then have the discretion when it comes to punishment, what might happen to a person, and that's where you need someone with a very balanced attitude. You need someone that has a background in every different type of case, and that's because there are out-of-the-box thinking. One of the examples is our current specialty courts, and I was on the team that developed our sobriety court. So I volunteered, I was the only volunteer. For over a year, we put together the sobriety court, which is a specialty form of probation for repeat drunk drivers. Some people say, why do they get so much extra help? But what we're doing is helping people get over alcoholism, to help them learn to be sober for the rest of their life, and then certainly to stay out of the criminal system. That's a great example, but we're not done. We have much more work to do.
Yeah, we talk an awful lot with the land bank and the county treasurer about taking properties that are in disrepair and fixing them up and getting them back on the tax rolls to benefit our county. But we don't always take that same tack with people.
That's right. And these are our people. These are our neighbors. These are parents whose kids go to school with our kids. This is our community. It's us. It might be somebody that we are friends with or related to that gets in trouble with the law. So we can't just, oh, they broke the law, put them away, punish them. And there are times for that, and that's where discretion comes into play. But the real goal is to rehabilitate anybody that we think could be rehabilitated, to get them back in our community, to make them productive again.
Last week we had our roof set to benefit the homeless shelter, and we hit our goal in as much house. And the prosecutor Gilbert, Sheriff Saxon were both among the many people in the community up on the roof, and they were talking about, the alcohol court and those type of things. And I got a sense from Prosecutor Gilbert that things are changing, that we are looking for ways that are going to help society long term, maybe with these kinds of things. But how do you know? How does a judge use the discretion? What do you have to go on? Is it a gut? Is it, they smiled, or what? I mean, what can you go on? How can you know it's in the heart of these people when they come before a judge?
That's a great question, and that's where the probation department comes in. We work in partnership with probation officers who go through a lengthy screening process, and their screening process is based on the guidelines that the development team puts together. So for example, with the sobriety court, prosecutors were involved, probation, mental health folks, the Judge Hallisey got that off the ground, and they needed a defense attorney to balance it, to take a look at everything. And that's exactly what we use so that we can identify those people who might be successful. Some people can't, and the best we can do is mental health tools and personal interviews.
I know some people out there think, and they probably unfortunately have personal experience with this, we have people out there who get drunk and drive, and then they get fined or go to jail, and then they get out and they drink and drive again, and they do it again, and they do it again, and they do it 50 times, and we're still giving them a pass, and then they kill an entire family.
That's the worst nightmare. That's the worst scenario for anybody that's been in contact with them, from law enforcement, who have to be the initial contact and see what's happening, right through the attorneys and the judges. That's the worst case scenario. We want to help these people, certainly not let them hurt anybody, including themselves.
Right, but a lot of times, these programs, they're not working, and then the public's at risk. So how do you balance that?
Well, our sobriety court has less than 5% recidivism rate, so the sobriety court is working. We have a wonderful felony drug court, but that has about a 40% recidivism rate. One of the important goals that I intend to do as district judge is start a misdemeanor drug court, because you've got to catch people when they first get involved with something. We're waiting until they are 2, 3, 4 times in with law enforcement where they're messing with drugs. We need to get them on the front end and help them right away with special probation. So that's one of the goals I have as a judge. You need a judge that's going to put in the extra work to do it.
Tracie Tomak is a candidate for district judge, and we'll be back to talk more in just a moment. Is born and raised here in Battle Creek, a graduate of Harper Creek High School, and is an attorney. She has a law firm here and is running for district judge. That's because Judge James Norlander can't run again. Judges are now, once they reach the age of 70, it's time to retire. Do you think that's a good law?
That's a controversial law, and one that they tried to change a couple of years ago. We see some of our best judges retiring at age 70, and that's because they've had so many years of experience. So that's something I think we need to continue to revisit. It is the definition of age discrimination.
Absolutely, and I think, we see these Supreme Court justices like Judge Ginsburg, for instance, who, clearly have been on the bench too long because her health is terrible and she's extremely old. But 70? Come on, that's just when we need a judge who's been around the block and knows stuff, at least some of them. So I think that's not a good law. I think they ought to make it 80.
Well, I don't know what the number should be, but definitely looking at the judges in our county, with the exception of Judge Norlander, he only served 4 years, and he has been absolutely outstanding from day one. But most of our favorite judges have served 15, 20, 25 years on the bench. If elected and re-elected, I would be able to serve 24 years if I filled out the time that I had eligible. And that's important. That's a long term that a judge can serve the community, and serving is the key word.
Sure. How important is experience, and how important is it to come in with a different, fresh perspective?
It's very important. The requirement to be a judge is that you need to be an attorney in the state of Michigan for 5 years. I've been an attorney for 11 years, so I'm more than doubly qualified. I've also practiced in every courtroom. I'm not a corporate attorney, someone who's not familiar with the courts. Quite the opposite. I'm there every day. And I've also sat at both tables in the courtroom, which is also so important. That's why I say I'm the balanced candidate. I'm the person that has been the plaintiff's attorney, the defendant's attorney. I have been for mothers, represented fathers, children, the mentally ill. I've been appointed as a guardian ad litem, which is a special attorney for children who are victims of abuse and neglect. I've done everything that we could possibly do in a courtroom, and that experience is just second to none.
Mm-hmm. And you've been campaigning out door to door, knocking on doors and that sort of stuff?
I have. It's been a tremendous response, and I don't know if that's because I'm from Battle Creek, but my son thinks we're famous now because people get so excited to see us. But my family has been out since really November when I decided to make this run, going to every event that we can attend and meeting everybody we can meet, and it's just not enough. I would love to shake the hand of every registered voter in this county and the non-registered ones to get them to register.
And your son is how old?
He's 7 years old, just finished first grade.
He's got to be thrilled about spending his summer vacation campaigning for Mom.
It's a love-hate relationship with the campaign. He does understand the importance of it, but he is obviously jealous of the time that it's taking. But that's what it takes if you're a public servant. Your life is about the public.
Yeah, good thing he doesn't watch the old Western channel my dad watches with the hanging judge. Or maybe that'd be good. Maybe, my mom's going to be the hanging judge. Well, once we get to that, too, I mean, we see a lot of people being pardoned recently by the president. And frankly, some of them you scratch your head, but others you say, yeah, that does seem like a crazy sentence that guy, he was life for selling a couple of joints or something. I mean, well, how do you feel about these these 3 strikes and you're out laws, or these laws that we've had where, you know, you get caught with X amount of cocaine, you go for life?
I'll tell you what I think about any case is there's no two cases that are alike, and only the very inside players know all of the facts. Every divorce client that I have, I tell them, don't talk to any of your friends that have been divorced. Anytime I'm defending someone who has been charged with drunk driving, don't talk to anyone else, because their case will be like nobody else's. And then when you hear snippets about it later, we all think we know what happened, we think we know what the circumstances were, but only the attorneys, maybe the defendant and plaintiff, and the judge and the jury would truly know. So I'm very careful about judging a situation that I don't have all the facts in.
Well, we will talk to you again, I'm sure, because, well, November, how far is that?
November 6th, just over 4 months.
4 months, and it'll be you versus Dan Busher, and somebody will be our new district judge. What district is it anyway?
This is the 10th District Court.
10th District, and who are the other 3 judges that are sitting there now? Sam Durham?
Frank Line and Paul Beardsley.
Okay.
And we will be losing Frank Line in the next couple of years, and that seat may not be replaced. So this particular election is very critical.
And Judge Line's been on there quite a long time.
He has. He's just a very, very fun judge.
Judge Beardsley, he's the newcomer. And frankly, Judge Durham's been on the bench quite a while now, too.
Yes, both Judge Line and Judge Durham took the bench at about 11 years legal experience, so I would be about the same time frame as both of them.
Mm-hmm. All right, Tracie Tomak, best of luck in the election. I'm sure we'll chat more about it as we get a little closer to that election.
Thanks for having me.